Chapter 10. Everything about the woman is predatory. Her walk, her posture, her mouth, they all speak of danger, but also of elegance. I am convinced that many men would deem her worth the risk. Who? Why dash? The man does not finish his sentence. The newcomer unsheathes a dagger and with a casual swipe, slices his throat open. She did not even grace him with a look. I can see the tubes, and smell the fouled liquid. How vexing. I can barely perceive the woman passing by. So very tired. Just need to close my eyes for a moment. Stay with me, young one. I blink my eyes open as something straddles me. The woman is here. She rubs her thighs on my stained dress, making herself comfortable. Then, she extends one hand and digs inside my chest. Irk. Shhhh, look at me, follow my voice. I stare in chocolate brown eyes twinkling with mischief. She is doing something, but I am too weak to act. Nothing hurts, it just feels like you are surrounded by fluffy pillows. Something pulls on my stomach, but I feel no pain. A moment later, the strange woman is inspecting a silver ball held in a blood-soaked hand. She whistles. Nice catch, darling. Is it? I frown. You're comfortable, yes? Am I? I guess I am. I feel like taking a nap, but something is holding me conscious. How peculiar. So, did you know Jasper, the tracker? Who? I guess not, sweet cheeks. I'm talking about that midge who almost killed you. I assume it is he, seeing that the head is mostly gone. Nasty man. He had a habit of hunting monsters and people for sport, regardless of guilt. This time, he bit off more than he could chew. Pun intended. I see. You were too quiet, my little honeypot. Let me help you. She takes out a small canteen from her jacket and empties some of its content around my mouth. The burning sensation I had forgotten is simply washed away. She dabs at the damp spot with a clean tissue. I tentatively lick my lips. I am still sluggish, but now I can talk. Good evening. The woman looks dumbfounded before exploding into laughter. Ah, my little duckling, so precious. I am Naminata, but you can call me Nami. Nami. So, why are you here anyway? I assume you were not tracking the tracker. Talking is tiring. I slightly turn my head to the broken chair and the corpse beside it. Oh, that swine. You are the one who killed him, yes? Well done. I could not have entered this house otherwise. She leans forward. The distance between us grows intimate, and when she licks her lips, I shudder. I know you don't want to stay with those Lancaster bastards. You want in with us. One word to Cow and he will marry you. We could use an outer go, ma petite chérie. Now that my gut is free of bullets, I can feel my body struggle to heal itself. The torpor is receding a bit, replaced by pain and a renewed thirst. I still cannot do more than shake myself a little. Never. Again. GGGH. At the mercy of another. The smile folds from her face, to be replaced by regret and a little bit of shame. I recognize her now that my mind is clearer. She was with the representative of Clan Yukon when I escaped the fortress. She stays silent for a while. We do not move. I am starting to drift. A hand pats my head softly. The sharp claws brush through my hair with a gentle touch, parting the strands without snagging them. The effect is so soothing that I shiver and relax. SSSHHH, alright little one. I am sorry. I forgot. Very well, I shall let you go with a little gift. As an apology for my tactless offer. My eyes are closed, but suddenly I can smell something. It is a fragrance like wet earth and spice, an exotic scent, something to dance and sing to. I wonder how it feels. Come on, bite. I feel soft skin against my lips. The perfume grows hauntingly strong. I am so thirsty. This is not exactly what I need, but it will help. My fangs pierce her skin. This is so different from a human. There is no rush, no ecstasy of life. I barely get any energy, and whatever I obtain feels sluggish. No heartbeat drives vitality into my aching body. What I get instead is power. If life is the thing that perpetuates my damned existence, what I get now is the essence that lets me do impossible things. I can feel myself growing noticeably more powerful. I suppose that I am so weak now, that every little bit counts. There was something similar with the midge. Drinking from magical creatures makes me stronger. I finally understand the reason why the other spawns are so much more dangerous than me. My master feeds them the blood of powerful things, and possibly his own. Their quick growth must ravage their mind and turn them into the natural disaster that they are made to be. How dreadful. Baudouin said that vampires grow in power with age, implying that the devourer and his spawns draw power from the things they feed on, much more so than the other bloodlines. I am not quite sure that this is common knowledge. I am however certain that no one knows how significant that is, here in Louisiana, and I fully intend to keep it that way. I am afraid that some would kill me before I become a threat, if they found out. That is enough, little one, says a sultry voice. I obediently lick the wound clean. This experience was far too intimate for my liking. I fear that Nami stole my first kiss, or whatever the vampiric equivalent is. I so love to walk on the edge. But enough of this, my chere. I shall recover Mr. Jasper here, and I will be on my way. I'll be in it. With Nami's departure, something snaps and I immediately lose consciousness. No, please Achille, please. I told you, sister, it won't help. A ghastly wind blows through desiccated sugar canes, throwing ash and dust into the air. The sky is so darkened by smoke that I cannot tell the time. Please? I am so thirsty. Please. Achille carries the only flask of cold water around. He drinks from it from time to time. I can almost feel it on the tip of my tongue, so tantalizingly close. It's all your fault, you know? If only you had died correctly, we could have had closure, but even this you could not manage. A blast of air blows embers on my tattered dress. The red dots settle on me and smoke starts to rise. I can already feel the heat burning my skin. I struggle, but I am restrained. My arms are held up by chains attached to a wooden mast dug deep into the ground. The familiar log cabin taunts me with its safety, but it is so far, I can barely see its charred walls. They still stand. Achille. You do not believe me. Very well. Try it yourself. My brother approaches. His wide shoulder and muscular body used to be a sign of comfort, but now it is a threat. I feel like he would gladly shatter bones and bruise flesh with strikes from his meaty hands, but he does not. Instead, he brings the canteen to my parched lips. Yes. At last. The cold liquid rushes past my mouth, finally. It tastes like fresh mountain water. I gulp greedily, yet nothing happens. What? I told you it would not work. Only pain and misery will sate you now, you horror wearing my sister's skin. Have it then. Gorge yourself on it. Monster. Achille takes out a hunting knife and slowly places it against his jugular. Wait. Achille, no. What are you doing? The knife slices down and a veritable geyser of blood splashes all over me and the ground. He is going to die if I don't. I don't. I need it so much. I am hurt, and so very thirsty. Thirsty? Gah. Ah, the pain. What? Where is my respite? Where is my minute of introspection? I cannot move. I crack open my eyes. I am attached to my bed by thick ropes that twist around me in the mattress. I am still wearing the remnants of yesterday's dress under the layers of twine. It smells ripe. My face is coated with dried blood that cracks as I move. This is amateur work. I can free myself in a few minutes and hunt someone to drink dry. I squirm and the pain redoubles. My stomach lances me so much I could believe I have been shot once more. Ah, this is it. I must not have healed completely from yesterday's ordeal. If I had been alive, such a wound would have killed me within an hour. I would have gasped my last in a pool of my own blood and offal. There are some benefits to this cursed life after all. I hear footsteps just as I manage to sever the first knots with a talon. The door opens to reveal Lady Moore. She looks just as majestic as always, scrunching her nose in displeasure. How I hate her and her misplaced arrogance. She would smell like entrails and stale blood too if she got her dainty hands dirty, instead of parading herself in this barely civilized swamp like a peacock and letting others labor for her achievements. Hussy. Is that defiance I see on your face, fledgling? This is no time for confrontation. I will escape, and much later, I will wipe that expression from her face. No, mistress. I will not let arrogance destroy me. I realized yesterday that mortals are fortunate when it comes to pain. There is only so much damage a person can take before one's body gives up, unless they are under the care of a particularly talented torturer, I suppose. Vampires, on the other hand, can take so much abuse. Enough to drive one insane. I may be stronger than yesterday, but I am still a sparrow to Lady Moore's eagle. I need much more time before I can even compare. I shall be patient. I must be patient. I will be feared like master, even if it takes me 1,000 years. I will see that pretentious wench broken before me. Budwin had assured me that you made yourself useful. However, I now believe that you played him, you filthy little trollop. He does not know your kind as I do, too used to dealing with mortals, I suppose. Now, you will tell me all the dealings you have had with Clan Yacon. What? I have no arrangement with Clan Yacon. Is that so? Yes. None whatsoever. Then how do you explain that Niminata was seen exiting the building we found you unconscious in? This was the first time I saw her since the fortress. I explain what happened yesterday with the exception of my increased strength, such as it is. You said that you killed this Jasper man? Alone and unarmed? I was not entirely unarmed. I useless throwing knives. She scoffs, her carmine lips twisted by disdain. Picking up a mortal weapon like a beggar with no dignity? Now this story is suddenly more believable. And whose fault is it that I ended up in harm's way equipped with a shawl? Bah! This woman would not know intellectual honesty if it slapped her in the face with a rotten catfish. Although, did she just imply that she cannot recognize lies from the truth? That is tremendous news. It means I can hide my little conspiracy from her. I still have to be careful, for she would not have survived this long without being crafty. Not with that attitude, at least. But to expect someone of your lineage to be honest? You must think me daft, girl. I assure you that there are no arrangements between Clan Yacon and myself. I even refused Niminata's proposal. Ha! I knew it. And what proposal would that be? I did not mean to say that. My anger got the best of me yet again. To marry Lord Cow. Ha! Ha ha ha! How it must have been tempting, you shameless harlot. Freedom at the tip of the savage's member? What stopped you? The perspective of only being the second wife? HSSS. It appears that Jimena was wrong. Vampires are racist, just not to each other's face. Indeed, it appears that I was mistaken to believe you crafty enough to make such an arrangement. You certainly possess some form of low cunning. However, it is not enough to successfully plot against us. I remain silent. I finally see the end of my torment. I just want the insufferable woman to take her leave so that I may hunt in peace. A betrayal is not to be borne, however, no matter how small. I am quite certain that your addled brain came up with some scheme, and I shall hear of it now. What? You have a plan to escape? You must have, and I will hear it when you are ready to share. Not to worry, girl, I brought some light reading to entertain myself while we wait. You must understand that in my veins runs the blood of kings. Those who have been brought up in such high spheres know the best tools to achieve the intended result, without ever having to sully their hands. In this specific instance, the tool is patience. And so we shall wait. Lady Moore ignores my protests. She sits on my chair, at my own desk, and takes a book from a small bag, which she then proceeds to read. I shuffle in discomfort. My stomach is still quite painful, if not as much as before. My thirst, however. It starts from the chest, at the height of my arm. It spreads up and down until it reaches my throat and tummy. It is an itch, a burn, and a craving. There is nothing like it, and no human experience can quite compare. When I was a child, I held a heavy plate for as long as I could. At first, it felt easy, then uncomfortable, then painful until finally, it became almost unbearable. If I held longer, my entire existence had to be limited to the task. The situation is somewhat similar, in the same way that being stung by a bee is similar to being stabbed by an enchanted silver dagger. After a few minutes, I would roll around and fight the bindings openly, the pain in my stomach forgotten. I could not help myself. After half an hour I was hissing and grunting. Lady Moore had heavy chains brought by a smirking Charlotte, and I was held up like in a cocoon. After that, I lasted only a few more pages before starting to beg. Anything I want? Yes. Yes. Just, please. Please. Your arrangements with Clan Akon, I would hear of them now. There are no arrangement, you argue. But you do have a place to escape. Well? Yes. Yes, damn it, I do. I have a plan. And what is that plan of yours? I have money put away. I will take it and go. There is barely enough sanity in me left to throw away my most desperate plan. I will use it as bait, as a sacrifice. You stole from us? And no, mistress, I took money from your foes. The people in the warehouse. The Swordfish Gang, the rapists and the dodgers. I took their money. PFFF. Ha ha ha, oh, a war prize? Oh, this is just too precious. Very well, you might be slightly more cunning than I gave you credit for, but I must ask, how did you expect to survive the following manhunt? Well, there is enough money to take the night coach. I would run afterward. I was referring to the bracer, you harebrained bumpkin. Yes? I was going to cut off my arm. Oh. This is just getting better and better. Why, I should thank you for tonight's entertainment, my dear. I have paid fortunes and laughed less. You seriously intended to mutilate yourself? I know we can regrow limbs. That is technically correct, and also completely irrelevant, as expected of you. You simply fail to understand the reality of your existence. You are no true spawn of the devourer, mad with power and thirst. You are just a lost fledgling abandoned by her sire who thinks herself tough enough to do what it takes to escape. You are not, and since I am a benevolent mistress, I will educate you this instant. She walks to me and takes out a wicked dagger from a recess of her robe. The weapon is terrifying. It is black as obsidian and strangely curved. I have never seen such a thing before, yet one look at it is enough to know it was designed to slay humans. She raises it and I flinched, but she just frees my hands, and then removes the shackles. The rest of my body remains trapped. Well, I had almost forgotten your stench. I only have myself to blame. In any case, take it. She gives me the dagger hilt first, and I grab it before thinking. I could just cut the rest of the rope and get some blood. Cut off your arm here and now and I shall let you drink someone dry, then I will give you your freedom. What? You heard me. Should you successfully cut off your arm, you can leave. This is my blade. It can cut through metal. Even an untrained mortal could decapitate a foe in 2 strikes using it, so slicing through an arm is a small matter. Doubt assails my mind through the numbing thirst. Could it really be this easy? There are no traps. Go on. Try it. I extend my left arm and brandish the blade, and I realize the issue. I am terrified of pain. I have suffered a lot in the past few months, and one would think it would make me used to it. It does not. I do not want to be hurt. I do not want to bleed. But I must try. I have to. This is my best shot at freedom. I turn my eyes towards the master vampire at my side. She has a patient and slightly condescending look on her face. She seems so certain that it is impossible for me. I will show her. I take a deep breath, grit my teeth and move to strike with all the speed and strength I can muster. I will hack down and slice before my brain can register what I have done. My hand falls down and begins to quake. Oh my God. Ah. Can't move. Can't think. Hurts. Blade grates against the bone, bury it deep. I keep screaming and holding my arm, with the knife still in it, for some time. The agony washes my mind free of anything but the blinding pain itself. The world turns white. There is only suffering. Eventually, another voice pushes through the dry sobs. Well, you managed to reach the bone. Here, let me help a bit. A hand pushes the blade down in a resounding crack and I lose consciousness for a few moments. When I come to, the knife is halfway through my arm. Blood slowly seeps on the stained sheets. The only sounds are my whimpers. You were halfway there, though arguably this was the easy half. Well, will you continue? Take your time. Too much pain. Too much pain and too thirsty? I should continue, but I simply cannot. It hurts too much. I am not some hero out of a story, who can just ignore pain and adversity. I am not strong enough. I don't want to do it. I don't want to feel this torment. It will have to be the Cadiz. I am only lucky that Lady Moore forfeited a full interrogation in favor of humiliation. It seems that being looked down upon remains my greatest asset, for now. I would feel sorry about myself, but I am in too much agony for even that. Should I take it out? I nod. Yes, God please, just make it stop. Make everything stop. I feel like crying but I will not let go of the shreds of dignity I am still clinging to. Lady Moore removes the knife and to her credit, she does it cleanly. The wound does not heal and I vainly hold my mangled arm to prevent more of the precious liquid from flowing away. So thirsty? I can't take it anymore. She drags me to the cattle pens and I feed on 2 victims one after the other. Something changed. I notice that the sky outside of my mind refuge has turned dark. I should perhaps be worried, yet how could a vampire find daylight soothing? This is no more than I deserve. After we are done, Lady Moore drags me back inside and throws me on the carpet. I can hear a snicker from Harold who watches me from the stairs. Those jackals are ever eager to witness someone else's humiliation. My devoted Melusan tried to turn you into an acceptable courtier. However you preferred to be with the dregs. Now, unless you want to help with the gauntlet, you will work in a position that suits you better. More specifically, on your back. Gauntlet. I croak. I beg your pardon. Gauntlet. I repeat with more conviction. Whatever it is still better than the fate she has in mind right now. If Lady Moore is angered by my refusal, I see no trace of it. Very well. The gauntlet it is. Chapter 11. I was mistaken in believing I knew everything about the Lancasters' various businesses. I used my free access to Baldwin's office to copy a few documents, including quarterly reports to the head of the Lancaster, in Old English no less. I knew about the plantations, the factories and warehouses. I knew about the inns and brothels. I knew about the slave and flesh trades. I even knew about the occasional contraband. Of course, they would hide something so that it is not taxed, and so I did not know about the blood sports. New Orleans landed gentry is proving to be an utter disappointment. Their unusual tastes have created a demand for the most horrendous of spectacles. 2 to 3 times per week, men and sometimes even women, are given the opportunity to be freed of debt or punishment in exchange for a night of combat. Should they survive, of course. Ladies and gentlemen in expensive suits and domino masks travel by coach to one of Lancaster's villas, walk through a cleanly cut maze of grass and sit with refreshments on the slope of a Greek-style amphitheater. An entertainer dressed in a toga and a full-face helmet loudly proclaims the night's program. The arena also employs a few prize fighters to guarantee some modicum of quality in the art of killing. Ooh. HSSS. I breathe slowly. I do not need air anymore, but there is something in the cycles of breathing that provides the soothing rhythm I need to stay focused. Inside, the log cabin has changed. It is no longer comically large, like I remember it as a child. The building is simply more spacious with some semblance of furniture. The cot has turned into a bed with a canopy that reminds me of my own, before I became what I am now. The smell of wood smoke and fresh rain is just as prevalent as before. I let the light of the moon caress my skin from an open window and stare outside to endless fields of thorny trees. I do not recognize their essence, and I know they should look menacing, but I feel protected. Safe. Nobody will cross this expanse to harm me. They would be turned to bloody shreds in the labyrinthine forest. I have not stepped outside yet. I am not ready. I keep breathing. In and out. In and out. I just need to last a little longer. The thirst will not make me throw myself against the bars. Never again. I have been here for 2 weeks, and it only happened twice. A clanging sound interrupts my meditation. Harold is opening the door to my cell. I can feel his hungry eyes on my body, and I am once more thankful to Batuan for his parting gift. He left clear instructions that I am not to be touched inappropriately, an order that the male vampire has yet to disobey. When I kill every last one of them, I will be sure to make the human's death painless. It's time, says the brute. I adjust my half mask and tighten the leather armor I wear. They are part of my public persona. I am, to the spectators, a Himalayan tribes woman cursed with a taste for blood who fights without a blade. Yes. How they swallowed this much nonsense, I shall never know. We walk through a short corridor to the arena's gate. Harold stays mercifully silent the whole time. Just a few more minutes. I can do it. The gates open and I cross the threshold. The night smells of sweat, arousal, sand, and stale blood. In front of me, a burly man in a kilted ancient helmet wipes his wounded shoulder with a stained piece of fabric. The corpse of a starved wolf lies a few feet farther. Ladies and gentlemen, Demetrius won his daughter's freedom. Can he repeat the exploit for the rest of his family? Will you grant him your favor against the blood beast? Seriously. I raise my eyes to the skies and find the purple shape of the silent watcher. The twisted heaven grows closer as I am made aware of its presence. It does not judge. That is all I can perceive, and at the moment, it is all that I need. I bask in the eldritch light and savor the simplicity of the eye's intent. The raging thirst slides in the background, if only for an instant. My only valued companion is a gigantic eye in the sky. This says a lot about my current social standing. 5 lives, I have 5 lives, who will give me a 6th? No? 5 lives it is. May the begin. The man grabs a trident and I finally notice a discarded net lying around. Batuan must have gone for the Roman angle, as I recognize the attire of Arisharius. That would make Harold Alanista, the master of ceremony in a Roman circus, and me an idiot. The man charges me with a grunt and thrusts the trident awkwardly. I easily push the shaft aside and stab a claw in his shoulder wound before dancing away. I lick my bloodied finger for all to see. And we are 1 life down already. The blood beast teaches yet another lesson. The man howls in pain. The crowd roars in approval. I want to consume the prey. He tastes so sweet. Fear does that, it brings life to the surface. I must remain patient. My opponents have lives. Instead of going for a killing blow, I am to merely hurt them until they run out of it. Spectators can throw money to purchase an additional life for a contender, or they can pay that same amount to remove one. To win, they only have to draw blood. For me, the game is slightly different. I could finish the fight in an instant by moving, however, I have 2 objectives: provide entertainment, and spend as little resources as possible doing so. If I rouse the spectators, then Harold lets me feed on the defeated a little bit longer. On off days, the kettle arrives a little bit faster. If I am defeated, or if I am too fast or too brutal, pain and the thirst follow. If Harold punishes me for no reason, I immediately kill my opponent. There is a balance of terror in our relationship. I successfully made myself too valuable to kill and too difficult to control. The failed Arisharius finally recovers from the pain and grabs the trident firmly with 2 hands, like an oversized sword. He swings at me menacingly a few times, but I do not move. I can recognize the most obvious feints now. Out of patience, the man swings at my head and I dodge down and forward to close the distance. He reacts in an instant by dropping the unwieldy weapon and punching forward. He is much faster now, and I barely manage to block. The impact pushes me back. My arm stings a bit. He immediately jumps on me, but this time, I was expecting it. I sidestep his bull rush and stab a talon in his side as he goes by. Not too deep. The man and the crowd roar at the same time as I lift a finger high. I lick it again. I cannot wait much longer. And that is too. His hope quickly fading for Demetrius. Can't he make the monster bleed? Monster is a code word by the announcer to tell me to slow down. Drag the fight. I am so thirsty, surely they would understand. As Demetrius stands up, a heavy object buries itself at his feet with a thud. Silence descends upon the arena. Throwing objects, and particularly weapons inside is ground for removal. Who would dare to? Ah! A petite woman in a blue dress and a checkered mask waves her hand at me. Her crimson hair bobs up and down with her giggles. Melusen. The announcer recovers faster than me. Mistress. Do you grace Demetrius with your blessing? She waves lazily and sits down. The dismissal is so well done that all the attention returns to him and forces his hand. Very well. Demetrius, you have been given a second chance. Do not disappoint this noble assembly. I watch, speechless, as the gladiator picks up the massive knife and draws another one from his boot. So, not a Rishi Arius gladiator anymore. A Dimocharis. Those are the ones who use two swords, if I remember properly. I fall back before my opponent. It is obvious that he knows how to use those. His posture is different and he feels so confident. I see no opening. I dodge a slice, another. On the third, I try to grab his arm, but his second blade lashes out. I barely avoid the bite. His moves are much more conservative and efficient. Melusen broke the rules to make the fight more difficult, and I know well that she will receive no more than a slap on the wrist for this transgression. I slip to the side and sprint to my left. Demetrius easily keeps up with me, then I reverse course and rush forward. Caught off guard, the gladiator stumbles. His weight makes it harder for him to change direction quickly. As I pass him by, he slashes the air. The blade slides against my armor with a scratch, a glancing blow that draws no blood. I roll forward and grab the discarded trident. As he jumps at me again, I swing the massive weapon and smash it against his side. He crumples in a heap. The crowd yells in approval, delighted at my quick thinking, such as it is. Ooh, it appears that our valiant Demetrius still looks down upon the blood maiden. 3 down, 2 left. I lick the outer prong. Very little blood. Not sharp. Soon. Have to wait. The trident is not yours. Once again, Melusen's voice silences the intoxicated mob. Oh no, she did not. I am not to speak, so instead, I tilt my masked helmet to the side, hold the polearm like a javelin and throw it at her. Melusen's eyes widen in disbelief behind her checkered mask. She barely manages to fall to her side and the weapon hits the stone behind her with a loud clang. I threw it shaft first, as a precaution. Yup, it's yours now. Your move, you insufferable daughter of a hag. Melusen shivers in rage, but she already broke the rules twice for her own enjoyment. She is on thin ice, and she knows it. Fuming, she sits back down and I turn to the prostrate gladiator with a small scoff. I make sure she notices. Now that my anger dies down, the thirst once more takes over. The wait is the worst. I am easily distracted from the craving, but I do need something to focus on. I walk a bit and when my preparation is done, I stand in front of the panting gladiator. I wait. Perhaps I cracked his ribs. You bitch. It is always the same insults with them. No lily-livered wenches, no unable worms and threefold fools. Has no one told them that variety is the spice of life? F my boy, says he, as he stands up, quite audibly too. The crowd erupts and cheers. The narration of the moment crystallizes in their sick minds. Here is the criminal with a good heart fighting for his family's freedom. There, the cold maiden from the tribe at the dawn of time, the remnant of an archaic world where the fairer sex could wield blades as sharp as their tongue. I care not. I am Marianne, I am my own. I will live, I will go home. All those who stand in my way, be they saints or criminals, I will devour. The man rushes me again, but he is slowing down. I easily dodge his slices by moving backwards and to the side. I leave my hands behind my back to everyone's amusement. Finally, he corners me, then overextends, and I throw the net I was hiding that whole time. There is an art to throwing a net. You have to make sure it is as wide as can be when it lands. Demetrius recoils in panic and raises his hand in reflex. The net wraps around him beautifully, and I draw a furrow in his left cheek with a talon. Yes. We are finally reaching the conclusion to this farce. The crowd is silent now as the last act is about to open. The desperate man fumbles for a while and finally manages to get free. He immediately rushes me with a desperate roar. I stand my ground as the crowd watches with bated breath. When the knives reach me, I step backwards and grab both arms, let myself fall, put a foot against his belly and push. That is a neat trick. The big man is propelled like a derailed locomotive and crashes against the arena's wall in a fracas of metal. I am on him in an instant. I lock one arm with a leg, the other with my right arm. I pull his head back and bite deep. Finally. Wait. No, this is wrong. I know that stench. That Jasper ruffian used the same concoction. How? A match potion? How? When? There on the ground, a glass vial. He must have drunk it as he was fumbling under the net. But who would give it to him? I spit out. Livid, I turn around and point an accusatory finger at Melusan. She was bent forward in anticipation. I knew it. You whore. You tainted the blood. Whispers and murmurs break among the crowd, growing in a crescendo. How dare she? How dare she pollute the precious substance? Pain from the bracer makes me collapse. Harold comes and picks me up before retreating to the corridor. I need it. I need it, need it, need it. When Harold brings me another prisoner, it takes all my self-control not to kill the whimpering sod on the spot. 2 weeks later. There are no signs of Melusan, and I can only assume that she was reprimanded for her idiotic display. Fights remain difficult, but I am fed enough to remain sane. Mostly. 3 weeks later. The man facing me is an old French sailor with graying hair and nose flattened by repeated fractures. Non, you must move better. I show. Marius is quite popular with the crowd, especially when he uses a ridiculous harpoon as a spear. He fights dirty and I learn a lot from him. We have an off night and I want to pick up a few tricks. God knows I could do better. This is unladylike, but I will do almost anything to survive. 4 weeks later. Marius is dead. He was killed by a down-deader who stabbed him in the back after the fight had ended. On a positive note, I got to drink the shameless prick dry. I had a new fighter, an Italian lout, show me how to use a knife. 5 weeks later. The Italian lout made a name for himself as Benedetti. His knife-wielding technique and rakish looks apparently made him popular with widowed female spectators. I am fighting a bit less as a result. We also picked up a coolie called Long. He calls himself a martial artist. He moves well but fights too clean. 6 weeks later. I lost my first match in a while against a desperate fighter, a cavalryman of some repute apparently. He managed to stab my arm using a suicidal attack. The crowd loved it. I think he may even survive. 7 weeks later. I wake up to a familiar ceiling of red bricks. There are 496 of them, to be precise. Entertainment is sparse here. The cell is made of 3 brick walls and 1 made of metal bars to allow my captors a full view of my quarters, such as they are. The only saving grace is that I do not need to visit the lavatories, nor is it difficult to keep clean. No sweaty armpit, no dead skin for this young vampire. No moon blood either. Even my costume is cleaned after every fight by a terrified maid. There is very little cause for me to undress, and I have so far managed to clean myself at record speed and therefore avoided any spectator. I am Marianne, I am my own, I will survive, I will go home. I repeat the sentences every night, though my heart is not in it these days. I have achieved something I thought would have been impossible after waking up with no pulse. I am bored. I know, on an intellectual level, that I am in mortal danger. I also know that I am a prisoner, and yet my life has become routine. There are only a few variations. Sometimes, I am let out to practice with other gladiators as a reward for good behavior. I learn to move better, I learn where it hurts and what my body can do, but that barely covers an hour. Sometimes, I fight, and although it can be entertaining, it is over too quickly. The rest of the time, there is nothing to do. I asked for a book and they brought me a Bible. I suppose this was a crude attempt at humor. I remember the cross on the men of the Order of Gabriel and their dreadful effects on me. However, when I opened my own copy, nothing happened despite the holy symbol on the cover. I thought that reading this most august of works would shed some new light on the world, now that I am aware of the existence of unnatural creatures. Sadly, I found little of interest. It appears that a lot of the content is about who begat who and which tribe camped where. Disappointing. 2 sets of footsteps approach my door. Harold comes into view, dragging a reluctant woman in a maid uniform. He opens the door and shoves her in. I approach slowly and she offers her neck. However, as I draw closer, she seizes my arm. I do not show any surprise, and when we are done, she leaves without a word. I open the folded paper she placed in my hand to read its content. Do not let him transform. The message bears no signature, and I do not recognize who wrote the blocky letters. A moment later, Harold returns with a fresh armor. No helmet this time. Put it on, and hurry. As I walk to the arena, I know something has changed. Winter is here. The air tastes colder and more quiescent, and the whispers and laughter of the crowd have fallen silent. When my feet tread the sand, I glance around in surprise. The rowdy crowd has been replaced by my so-called benefactors. Lady Moore sits in the middle, in a comfortable throne. Budun and Malusin are on either sides. The red-headed hag is smirking gleefully, and I am now convinced my opponent will be a difficult one. Lady Moore glowers down at me. Let the mercenary. She stops. Malusin leans towards her and whispers a few things. Moore considers her words for a moment before nodding in assent. You are correct, this is not technically against the rules. Inform Mr. Vaudier that he may start turning right away. Harold nods and crosses to the other gate. A moment later, dreadful cracks and groans emerge from the darkened corridor in front of me. What in the world is happening? The abominable noises continue for half a minute and culminate in a sound that freezes the blood in my veins, a primal roar of utmost savagery. The sound reverberates in the closed space. Birds take flight in the distance and the world around me holds its breath. A clattering of claws on cold stone announces the arrival of a creature of nightmare. Dark gray skin covers every muscular inch of a chimera between man and wolf. Even when hunched, it stands taller than me by half, and its long and powerful hands end in claws that completely dwarf mine. What in the name of God is that thing? I am supposed to fight that. The creature's yellow eyes fall on me, and in the same instant it jumps, and I move. I sidestep the beast, slide under its extended arms, and rake my talons across its powerful sides. It feels like carving into stone. The monstrous hands grab air, and before it can turn around, I rush from behind and kick its lower back. I used this move before to shove an unbalanced opponent into the wall with some success. Now? It feels like hitting a pile of bricks. The creature turns around and slices the air where I was standing an instant before. It misses me by a breath. That thing is fast, almost as fast as me unless I move. That said, I am not giving a show anymore. I am well fed, and I do not have to give quarter. I draw into a deep part of me, the predatory aspect that ignores all rationality. The Lancasters fade away, the locked doors fade away. There is only me and the prey. Big, resilient. Inflict critical damage. No dragging out. The monster rushes me, this time it stops beyond my reach and lashes out towards my torso. I move, using the same jump I used to hit the mage. The enemy misses, but its arm brushes against my leg and I am propelled off course. I barely manage to swipe my target on the side of his head before ending up at its back again. This time, the creature howls in pain and reaches for the ruin of its left eye. I do not wait. I jump on it and dig both hands in its jugulars, then I pull. To no avail. My talons are stuck in the rock-hard skin. I fight and struggle in vain for an instant, then the monster's claws hit my midriff and throw me away. There is a horrible shredding sound when my claws are torn from his arteries, and another when my body is sent flying. Are those my guts? Oh my God, it is. Oh my God, this is not alright. In a panic, I try to pull my intestines back as fast as possible while the beast coughs and hacks. I am almost done when it turns to me. Don't think about it, Ryan. Don't think about knowing what touching your own organs feels like. Gah! The beast jumps again. So much blood. It killed itself when it wrestled me, slit its own throat. I just need to last a little longer. It steps forward and... such a tantalizing bouquet. I will partake of it. The creature lurches at me, then strikes. I move for the third and last time tonight, dodging strike after strike with one hand against my stomach until eventually, I stumble. What? Why? I look down to my blood-drenched form. The wound is not closing at all. I am bleeding out. Using my distraction, the monster grabs my left arm and pulls. The pain is renewed as I feel things come out that should have stayed in. So strong. I manage to lift my right hand so the beast's other arm clamps on my torso instead. The pain is almost enough to make me faint, only panic and my will to live keep me off the edge. It opens a hellish maw, filled with serrated fangs. Oh God! It is going to eat me. No. I grab its lower jaw and pull it towards me. The beast's mouth bites on my fingers and a new pain joins the other, but I had enough time. The creature did not expect this. No prey wants to get closer. My mouth sticks to the gaping wound on its throat and I start drinking. The beast shivers. It is already too late. A rush of power and life unlike anything I have ever felt crashes against my mind. There is no time to think about any cabin, no time to prepare. I am just washed away. Night. The hunt. I see something on the veil under the light of the full moon. It is an abomination devouring a child. I shoot. It jumps at me. I run. I reach a house. I reach the cellar door. Something bites my ankle, but I turn and stab it in the eye. I run in. The beast is too large to follow me. Night. The hunt. Blood sings through my veins as I howl in triumph. The pale prey and their pathetic mounts lay dismembered around me. Mourning. Regret. Grief. Shame. Exile. I push away from the carcass and take a deep breath in. This was incredible. It does not compare to my master, of course, but it was the closest to have come to it. I hear a suction noise and look down. Under the grime and congealing blood, I am unharmed. Silence reigns over the arena. Melusin's face is a mask of stupefaction while Moore is contemplative. Batuan is pale and sweaty. It's not fair. My lady, this is a draw. Unless I'm mistaken, your candidate is a stiff. How is that a draw? Enough. Do not argue in public. Melusin, do not be ridiculous. Take the loss and go. But... Lady Moore's image blurs and I hear a loud smack at the same time as Melusin's face moves back. She collapses in a heap and coughs blood. Oh. Let this moment be engraved in my memory until the end of times. Melusin's pretty face with the imprint of someone's hand on it and blood dripping down her poisonous mouth. Whatever God favors us vampires, praise be to thee. Ha! Torpor hits me like a hammer. I fed a lot and took a lot of damage in a very short time. I can barely keep to my feet. I look up to the silent watcher as I am dragged away. Did you enjoy it too? Pale light shines on the meadow. In the semi-darkness, everything looks the same shade of gray except for scarlet droplets. I smirk and shoulder the smoking musket. With a trail that obvious, who needs bloodhounds? I stride forward with haste, lest my prey ends up in some other animal's belly. It is a swamp rabbit of prodigious size. Wait until I show it to Papa. I will surely break his and Achilles' records. Ariane Raynaud, greatest hunter of House Raynaud, here I come. The trail goes over ferns and through bushes, and I follow. In less than a minute I start to hear a wood snapping and a whimper of pain. Ha, so close. Here it is, my prey. Such a huge rabbit it is. No amiga, please. Do you not recognize me? I take out my hunting knife to finish it off humanely. One slice and it will bleed out nicely. No, Ariane, please, Ariane, I beg you. Ariane, no. There, all nice and proper. I lick the blood a bit, because it tastes so divine. Not bad. Now I just have to bring the carcass to the camp and weigh it. After I am done gloating, I shall allow Achilles to gut and skin it for me. There is just something most peculiar about its empty eyes, staring at nothing. It is almost as if... Gah! By all the saints in paradise, what is it with these inane dreams? How awful! Who in their right mind would hunt at night in the bayou? Preposterous. Strutting around in the dark, in the marshlands is a surefire way to get bitten by an alligator and drown in some murky pond. I would not be caught dead doing something this senseless. There is, of course, the small matter of the murder of my best friend. Unfortunately, I expect nothing else from those nightmares. I lay there in relative peace. I am fully healed from yesterday's fight and clean, and though my quarters are nothing comfortable, there is a pleasant feeling to just staying in bed. Inevitably, the thirst lets itself known and like clockwork, 2 sets of footsteps approach my cage. When my donor comes into view, it takes all my self-control not to jump in joy. I school my expression as the door opens, as the donor slips something with a glint of gold in Harold's hand and as he leaves us alone. When I hear a shutting door though, I let myself smile warmly. Good evening, Ainsa. The Cadiz have finally made contact. Chapter 12, Lo siento, señorita. Time is short, and you must listen. I shiver as Ainsa's warm breath tickles my ear. We are sitting on my cot, and I find her gesture distracting. We finally have an opportunity to force your escape. Unfortunately, it will have to be tomorrow. Is there anything that you can give us to justify our help? Please, my mistress wants to assist you, but her hands are tied. Would a list of Clan Lancaster's holdings, contracts, and associates do? It is quite comprehensive. Ainsa's eyes widen in surprise. Truly, you have gathered this much? Indeed. You are a prisoner, however. Do you have it secure somewhere? Yes, and I shall give it to you, but I must ask, I add warily, what stops you from taking the document and leaving? Señorita Ariane, you know of my mistress. Do you truly expect her to behave in such a shameful way? I suppose not. You can ask me again after you have fed, to assuage any doubt. Will I not be fighting your mistress for influence over you? Ainsa shakes her head with a light smile. Please, let us do it. Everything will be made clear. I embrace the shorter woman, who obediently bares her throat. Unmarred skin greets me and the offering is just too tempting. I flick my tongue and she shivers and moans. That was most lewd, and now I feel somewhat uncomfortable. Please? Please. She urges me on. Am I being molested? Bah, quickly, let me feed and think of this no more. As I stand in my refuge, I realize something incredible. I am tied to the diminutive woman by a bond we forged months ago. That means that Jimena hasn't touched her companion in that long. That also explains why she could reach me without being recognized as another clan's human. There is no trace on her of the touch of another vampire besides my meager own. I can only applaud the squire's restraint and the servant's loyalty. It also means that she has been prepared to infiltrate the Lancaster clan since before I even entered their service. My vampire friend truly is a woman of honor. I am sure the separation has cost them dearly. I pull away long before I must. There is something too intimate about this experience that I am uncomfortable with. Ainsa's rosy cheeks and the smell of her arousal are enough to convince me that she and Jimena may entertain a sapphic relationship. Oh dear. Ask me again. Do you and Jimena intend to save me? Yes, you will be free tomorrow night. We have a plan. They will think you dead, and thus will not pursue. And what is that plan, if I may ask? I want to tell you, but Jimena said that it will not work then. I want to question her more, but the sound of Harold's footsteps dissuades me. I quickly write a few directions to one of my hideouts for her. Time matters not. I have waited for 6 months. I can wait one more night. I can almost feel it. I am Marianne, I am my own, I will survive, and tomorrow, I will head home, to freedom. I follow Harold through the maze in a dress reminiscent of what Melusen had worn during our extremely short sparring session. The warden turns back to me every 5 seconds, frowning at my bare arms. No shackles for this vampire. I can only assume that wherever we go, I may not appear as a slave. Harold fully expects me to make a run for it. I have taken his measure, and I am far from confident that I could escape him, and so I am patient. I will not endanger Jimena's plan for a harebrained scheme. A short time later, I climb into a carriage and settle down as it leaves. Lady Moore sits opposite me, wearing the finest white robe. She stares at me with an assessing gaze. I feel measured, weighted and judged. Good evening, Ariane. I bow slightly to return the courtesy. Vampire society is ruthless, yet polite. Manners and rules are more important, it seems, when everyone can remove spines from torsos with their bare hands. Lady Moore, greetings. It seems that I have misjudged you. Bauduin's assessment was mostly correct after all. My eyes widen in shock. This sounded suspiciously like a compliment and an apology. Or, at least, as close to one as this stuck-up, arrogant twit can manage. They must be desperate. This leads us to tonight. Clanacon has issued a formal challenge, to be witnessed by Clan Roland. A challenge, my lady? The slave trade is picking up and those jackals want in on it. Nothing to concern yourself over. She waves a hand dismissively. As the provoked party, we had the choice of the form of the duel. What do you know about vampire conflicts? Nothing. I see. I would have hoped that Melusen would have taught. Bah, it matters not. There are several forms of formal resolutions. I am sure that Cow would have preferred to fight me in a duel, but I will not sully my hands wielding a blade against that savage. I highly suspect that Savage would give her a proper and well-deserved spanking. And so we will rely on champions. By rule, it cannot be a member of our house. In this desolate place, it would mean an expensive mercenary or a duelist. You have already slain Melusen's contender, and so you are our best candidate. Win for us, and I will officially let you become Bauduin's right hand. Desperate indeed. Oh, but I must not look too eager lest she suspects something. Should I accept, I want to have the right to possess a weapon and a proper bedroom. Yes, yes indeed. You will be given Caitlin's free room. She died during the raid on the fortress. You will also be paid handsomely and be allowed to carry a blade, and before you ask, no, I cannot have someone representing my clan walk around with a musket. Women do not carry muskets around town. Just leave it be. She knows me so well. I am amused to realize that musket is firestaff in the tongue of Akkad. You have a deal, my lady. Excellent. Now, as the offended party, you have the freedom to choose the weapon. I'll let Moore tell me about strategy with only half an ear. Now that the bracer is off, I feel so giddy. In short order, we stop in front of a derelict theater with a Spanish facade of painted stone. I walk in flanked by Harold and we reach an opulent entrance of yellow stone and red curtains. 2 curved stairs lead upward to a circular promenade while a set of doors stands in front of us. Corridors open here and there, basked in shadows. Belying the decayed exterior, everything here is spotless. Without a word, Harold leads me to a narrow passage while Moore struts proudly forward. I follow him through twisted alleys, barely lit by the errant candle. Freedom, so close I can taste it. Harold opens a set of doors and the golden light of torches shines on a renovated upper house. The lodges have been left intact, but the ground has been entirely replaced by a sand arena. This must be where they hold blood games during the winter. I can feel quite a few vampires in the tribunes, as well as a smattering of mortals. A small gathering lies ahead of us. The silence is eerie. Lady Moore and Lambert stand on one side, while Neminata and the man I recognize as Lord Cow stand on the other. The twins, who had been Gaspard's subordinates back at the fortress, are in the middle. I meet my savior's eyes and she lowers them with sadness. I expected her to be more playful. I present to you our champion, Ariane of Clan Irari. There is no Clan Irari, retorts the frowning Cow. Then unaffiliated, not that it matters, says Lady Moore with a smirk. One of the twins raises his hand and both sides fall silent. Both are men with very light brown hair, brown eyes, and tan skin. They're rather short and have the muscles I would associate with dancers. They wear an identical beige ensemble and the whole effect is decidedly monochromatic. The Lancaster is correct, Lord Cow. There were no restrictions on champion selection when you both agreed. A vampire from another houseland for the occasion is completely acceptable. I freeze in horror. Oh dear. I finally understand. So caught in the perspective of freedom, I ignored Aintz's drunken remark. They will think you dead, she said. Oh no. This is going to be most painful. On this auspicious remark, let me present to you my representative, Squire Jimena of Clan Cadiz. I hear a sharp breath intake coming from Moore. She clearly did not see that coming. Since when are you a Cadiz lackey, Cow? I thought dash. You thought our argument over the cane farms was unresolved? Yes, I know. Lady Moore falls silent and I use this opportunity to stare at Jimena as she approaches. I thought I looked good in that strange battle dress I wear, yet she puts me to shame. She is regal in a form-fitting leather cuirass. Elaborate metal bracers adorn her forearms and her hand rests on the pommel of a sort of exquisite make. Both champions are approved. The parties may regain their seats. The others retreat and I am left with the twins and my opponent. Jimena's face is a frozen mask. The second twin turns to me, Ariane. As the offended party, the choice of arms is yours. If I may. We both turn to Jimena. I advise you to choose a blade, young one. There is no need to make this worse than it is. How are they so serious? I am afraid she is right, young one. Very well, I choose swords. One of the twins leaves and shortly comes back with a pair of identical dueling blades, made of silver without adornments. I pick one and Jimena, the other. This duel is to the death. You may begin when the door is shut. Hold on, what? To the death? The twins leave at a leisurely pace. Do not let your circumstances dishearten you, young Ariane. Do your best to kill me. Then the door closes behind the judges. Oh dear. I am sure she has a plan, and she was quite clear that I use this sword to the best of my abilities. Fight me, Ariane. Very well. I move. I try to swat her blade aside and lean in for a thrust, but she just lowers her blade then swipes it back up to deflect my blow. I keep moving more and more. Every attack is deflected, every feint is ignored until I turn it into a real attack that is, and then it is blocked. I rush at Jimena like an enraged mantis and she dodges by the barest of margins. Sometimes, she riposts but her moves are transparent, and I parry without difficulty. I accelerate to the limits of my power and already the thirst is back in strength. I try to grab her, I try to claw her. I try to kick and punch her. I attack her arm and legs. Nothing works. This fight has lasted longer than the fight against the werewolf. I have completed no less than 5 quick sequences and am approaching my limits when something odd happens. My head lurches, I stumble. My mind pops like a soap bubble. Every desire to fight evaporates and strength abandons me. My arms fall, the blade rolls on the floor. Huh? What is going on? I am trying to think through a thick wall of cotton. Ah! There is a blade in my heart. Thick red blood flows freely to my feet. There is so much of it. Jimena approaches me with sorrow clear on her face. Is it over, just like that? There was a plan? No? Her talons reach my throat. No? With a ripping sound, She tears something and my vision falls to black with the sound of polite applause. Night reigns absolute in the thorn forest. Vines as thick as my legs twist and cross from all sides. They are covered in massive spines that could punch through a skull. It is getting colder. I walk and the vegetation moves aside to let me through. Even when I know my skin should be shredded by the contact, I receive instead the briefest of caresses. It is not enough to give me courage. It is getting cold. I hug myself to stave off the frigid air in vain. I should be home, but I do not know the way. I am lost. Papa must be worried. Perhaps he is already looking for me. The stars, if I see the stars then I will at least know where the north lies. As if by magic, I immediately reach a clearing of packed earth. There are stars above but they are too indistinct. I recognize no constellation. I know in my heart that something is missing, but what? Ah yes, I know. Of course, silly me, there is always the silent watcher. A veil parts and the ominous orb stares at me in unknowable serenity. Somehow, its presence feels sharper today. My mind is like taken and flung across the earth. The jolt is enough to wake me up from my trance. I am stunned. What just happened? But wait, there is no time to lose. I am dying. It is not the false death of our sleep, but the true end that no one can come back from. I need to move, to fight. I stand up and sprint towards the cabin. I do not need to see it to know where it is. We are, after all, in my psyche. A cold wind picks up and roars behind me. The forest twists and shakes to hold it back, in vain. I need to go faster. Suddenly, an enticing scent reaches my nostrils, blood most potent. It smells incredible. I run even faster. I need it. Such vitality, such life, I must make it my own. It is simply irresistible. I finally reach the log house and crash through the door. I come to with a gasp and terrible cough. Awake. Thirsty. Wounded. An incredible treat in my mouth and down my throat. Delicious. So strong. Not enough. Prey ahead, chained and whimpering. I reach the prey. I drink deep. Rush of life. No pleasure, too hurt. It dies. I take a deep breath and cough. Blood droplets splatter on the bound corpse in front of me and my shoes. The battle dress front is completely red. The hole in my chest is already closed and I understand. Jimena barely clipped my heart. Even then the damage was massive. I understand the look on Gaspard's face as he died. I haven't felt this helpless since the night I met him. My throat still pains me. I cough again to try and clear the airway. More of the crimson liquid drips from my lips. I take stock. I am in some wooden shed devoid of anything but the corpse of the tied man, a backpack and an oiled envelope on top of it. I approach the bag and notice a sheathed silver knife. Unbidden, a smile reaches my lips. She did it, Jimena did it. I am free. Ah! Someone just screamed outside. I am not completely free it seems. I approach the door in silence and stare through the keyhole. I am in a courtyard occupied by two people. The first one is Ainsa and the second one is Charlotte. The bovine woman is holding the servant's hand. Two fingers are already bent at an unnatural angle. Curses, what should I do? If I come out, I may be found out and this will have all been for nothing, assuming I even survive, and yet, not intervening feels wrong. I have a debt of gratitude towards Jimena and Ainsa. I am not foolish enough to assume that we made a fair deal. They went to great lengths to guarantee my escape. Ainsa is begging now. She might be slain. Curse it all. This shall not stand. I would never be able to face my friend if I let it happen. I will have to risk it. I open the door and the hinges squeal like a stuck pig. So much for discretion. Charlotte turns her piggish face to me and erupts in triumph. Ha, I knew it. You thought you could outsmart old Charlotte? You will not escape our service so easily. Wait until the lady hears of this. Your punishment will be exemplary. To return our gratitude so the lady does not yet know. I say in a gravelly voice. No, but soon we shall all so only you are aware of this scheme. I smile, making sure to show my fangs. This blood that was poured down my throat and the man that followed sated me, but the repairing damage is keeping the torpor at bay. I feel awake, strong, and quite happy. I am free, and now Charlotte comes to me without anyone knowing? This is just the cherry on the cake. I watch outrage and pride turn to hesitation, then to fear. Yes, realize now your predicament, you brainless excuse of a frigid ham. Why you would not dare. I step closer, slowly as that she does not panic. I do not want to run after her. I stop at arm's reach. I am this close to escaping, you fat sow. Only your wagging tongue stands between me and freedom, so I ask you, why not? She turns to run and I move. The silver knife slides between her ribs and my hand on her neck buries her ugly mug in the dirt. She is so slow and pathetic. Turning your back to your opponent while they are so close. It is tantamount to suicide. I adjust my grip and bring the blade out. She cries briefly and I use the distraction to stab her in the heart. Her struggle immediately ceases. I hear a whimper as I drag her neck up. In life as death, you are ever at the bottom, cur. I drink her dry. When I stand up, a weak blue light starts to consume her lifeless body. I feel like I am watching a log disintegrate. Even her taste was disappointing. Truly, a waste of essence to the very end. Oh well. I turn to Ainsa. She stepped away from the fight and is currently cradling her wounded hand. Her face is pale but resolute. Ainsa, you must leave Ariane, or you will risk us all. Will you be alright? Yes, do not worry, this is not my first time running a scheme for Jimena. She does seem too honest for her own good. There is not a devious bone in her whole body. She adds with a warm smile and dreamy eyes. She loves her. If I had any doubts before, there are none now. Even with the bonds formed from our recent bite, Jimena is still the most precious person in the world to the petite woman. I feel a pang of jealousy in my heart, but I quickly suppress it. I do not need it. I do not want it. I shall take my leave then. Thank you, both of you, for everything. Godspeed, Lady Ariane. Read the letter with attention, it contains everything you need to know. I nod and rush away into the night. After 6 months of servitude, I am finally free. I made it. And now, I am going home. Chapter 13. The town of Montfort, where I grew up, is about 2/3 of the way between New Orleans and Baton Rouge. It took us a day of riding to come here, back when I was alive. Tonight, it only took me 2 hours of running to reach the outskirts. I should have died. Even if my heart was barely clipped and my head still mostly attached, the grievous wounds I suffered should have been the end of me. Instead, I was given a few swallows of blood so potent, so incredibly strong that it amplified my healing and is even now carrying me forward. I have run before and any exertion quickly led to thirst. This time, I ride on the wind of boundless energy, a well of vitality that just goes on forever. Even now, I feel sated. I do not understand what I was given. I only know that I had never heard of something similar. Whatever I was gifted, it was both rare and precious. One more debt to add to the pile. I slow down as I recognize familiar houses. At this time of the night, the roads are completely empty and with clouds covering the night sky, even someone staring out of their windows would be hard-pressed to notice me. I still walk through fields and copses of trees to reach the back entrance of my house. I do not want to take any chances. I reach the first of my family's cane fields. Winter is almost here, so they lie empty and desolate. I keep walking. Wet earth and trees give me the peculiar smell I associate with home and I stop. I have done it. My primary purpose, the goal I aimed for since I woke up under the fortress, has been fulfilled. I held to this feeling, this idea of freedom and heading home to keep my sanity and determination in situations that could have broken me and left me helpless. I now realize that I have no idea how to proceed now that I have achieved those priorities. Those were not plans that could be implemented, they were ideals without follow-up. I sit down on a tree stump. What do I want? I am a monster. My family will know sooner rather than later, should I try to go back to my old life. Worse, The news of my return would spread far and wide, and I might as well just send a missive to the Lancaster and the order of Gabriel to show up to my house with a sharp blade and a silver spike. I do not want to stay. I still want to know how my father and brother are faring. They need this closure as much as I do. I do not want to die. I do not want to be a slave. All those are negative desires. They are an absence of things. They are not goals I can strive towards. At a loss, I decide to read Jimena's letter. She might have provided some good advice. I take out the heavy envelope from my larger backpack and open it. I note in passing that it is coated in something, to protect it from liquids, no doubt. They really thought of everything. The first line is a series of strange runes, all wedges, and sharp angles. It looks like someone stabbed the paper and the ink is black blood seeping from the wound. I blink and the meaning becomes obvious. Blood sister, if you can read and write the tongue of Akkad, please use it from now on in our correspondence. I do not even question how the knowledge ended up in my mind. The rest of the writing is in English. Jimena's letters are identical and evenly spaced. The paper does not have a single blot, which is no less than I expected from that straight arrow of a woman. My dear Ariane, the first thing you need to do upon reading these words is to get away from the city. Avoid the entire region around New Orleans like the plague, and give Baton Rouge a wide berth. You must not attract the notice of our peers, at least for a good 10 years. Do not let our efforts be in vain, for I will be unable to rescue you a second time. The second thing I need to tell you is to be careful if you head home. I do not blame you, for we have all done it. May the experience be kinder to you than it was to me. For the same reason, be careful not to be noticed, and for the love of all you hold dear, do not try to live your old life. You cannot trick the humans for long, and if the vampires do not notice, the Order of Gabriel will. Do not be fooled by their failure at the fortress. They are an efficient and ruthless lot, and they have been the end of many a fledgling. Underestimate them at your peril. Now that I assume you are safe and away, I would like to impart a few notions upon you. Your first priority is to survive for another year and a half. As a new fledgling, you require a lot of sustenance. You will need to drink deep every night, and finding the blood is not easy. You may feed off lone travelers, outlaws, and escapees with relative ease. Small villages may offer a hunting ground, but only for a single night. You must remember this. Wherever you go, you are and will be an outsider. You will attract attention, and attention is not your friend. As a vampire, you are more dangerous than most individual entities of the world. You are also isolated, at least for now. Do not let yourself be discovered and cornered. Do not let yourself be tracked down. Be always one step ahead of others, and your life will never be at risk. Let the crowd learn of the thing in its midst, however, and you will die. 100 may fall before you, but still, you will die, for nothing. The only place where your presence might be properly hidden is within the anonymous multitude of cities. Even then, you will be at constant risk without the support of a master. At least until you gather allies, you should stay on the move. For obvious reasons, you should avoid territories belonging to the natives, as a lone white woman at night will always be too noticeable. You may go where you wish. I would still advise you to stay well enough away from the two other vampire communities on the continent. One is in Charleston and the other in New York. Avoid them if you can. On to more practical matters. Here is a list of advice I wish someone had given me when I first set out. Create a fake identity and make it believable. Stick to it. The more familiar you are with it, the less people will think you lie. Remain consistent. Changing name and persona in every village will not protect you from the Order, or vampires tracking you. It will only make slipping more likely. Always drink before you need to, or the choice to spare a life will be taken away by the thirst. You must find a place to spend the day at least 2 hours before daylight. If the sun reaches you as you slumber, you will never wake up again. Do not try to pet dogs, cats, or any other animals. They can tell what we are. Always keep a clean set of clothes, and if possible, clean socks as well. Do not forget to wash behind your ears for the errant spot of blood. Do not use pigs set on fire as a distraction. It will never work as intended. The same goes for boars and bulls. Huh? When people welcome you with a smile, it means they assume you to be a fugitive and a member of their house is already on his way to the constable. And last but most important, hide the bodies. I close the letter with a sigh of regret. Jimena's words are directions and warnings. There is no indication on what I should do with my life, besides surviving. I have only been delaying the inevitable. As much as I hate it, I will have to do some introspection. What do I want? I want to create something for myself and then nurture it. When I was younger, I wanted to build a stable and later a distillery. It is most likely impossible for now according to what I understand from Jimena's letter. I might be able to do it later. I will never be too old to start a new project, after all. If I cannot build, then at least I can travel. I could go to Florida or Texas, or even visit the Anglos' lands in the north. I could even go to Canada. Or, Paris. London. No, that seems like a terrible idea. I would need to cross the ocean, and even my master would not risk it without preparation. This would also put me in contact with other clans. No Paris, no Barcelona, no Berlin for this lone vampire. I shall make the new world my own. Yes. I can travel, I can discover things and meet people, and eat them too. As soon as I am done here, suddenly my mood plummets. I ran all the way here, and now I am wasting time making inane plans that may never reach completion. I am scared. There, I said it. I am terrified by what I will find. What will I do if they try to kill me? What will I do if they are dead? No, no. They cannot be dead. I will not accept it. I stand up in a rush and stride towards the mansion. I am almost there. The log cabin. I slowly step to the place of my childhood. It is burnt to the ground. No. Black soot clings to the stone foundations and the few surviving beams. The charcoal is dark and shiny, its surface made smooth by a season of rain. The small hearth is half collapsed and there is nothing left of the furniture. I step forward and kneel. I grab a handful of dark dust. What happened? Why is it gone, and why is it so small? My log cabin is tall, large and strong, with a canopy bed. This pale imitation, this pathetic excuse of a dump cannot be the place of my childhood. I cannot accept it. Is this a joke? Is this some sort of trick? Is there a hidden place farther away? Perhaps I remember it wrong. This is to be a shed and the real thing is farther away? I am crying. I silently dab the tears away with a clean tissue. I am so terribly affected by the loss of this place. Why? Why am I so sad? I look up to the silent watcher and suddenly, my mind reaches my refuge. The sky is still dark and cloudless. Staring into it gives a feeling of immensity. I look down to the solid walls that would shame the ramparts of a Roman oppidum and step in. The gate opens before me, unbidden. The interior is warm and clean. The bed occupies the middle of the room, surrounded by furniture and the odd trinket, each a symbol of a significant memory. A fire roars in the hearth and the wood pops and hisses contentedly. I step out and end up sitting in wet ashes. So that is what it feels like, the death of innocence. It has been 6 months and the world moved on. It did not wait for me. I stand back up. No. This is nothing. This is just a building. I will not let such an event shatter me. I refuse. I keep going. After a while my childhood home comes in sight. It is a 2-story colonial house, the wood painted white. An outside patio leads to a grand entrance. I know every room in it, every nook and cranny, and yet there is a major problem. I cannot get in, at least not without an invitation. I need Papa to invite me. I walk away to his bedroom window, on the side of the 2nd floor. I jump up. I easily grab the sill with both hands and dig my talons in it, then I look down. Impressive. I will have to remember to jump up to avoid pursuers. Turning my attention forward, I face a shutter. Of course. I slide my index finger forward and the wood gives way with an audible crack, and I lift the lock. The shutter opens with a shriek from its rusty hinges. Inside, a dog starts to bark. I stare through the window and drawn curtains. Surely, Papa heard me? He should be up and waving around the massive iron poker while bellowing threats at whoever dares to disturb his property and his rest. The door slams wide and a female figure with a small dog comes in. I duck and let go. Roger, someone opened the shutter. Damn it, woman, I told you to wait for me. Dad? What's going on? I stay where I stand. Curses, this is my aunt and her family. What are they doing here? And where is my father? You stay there, I'm going to look outside. Dad? I said, stay there. He is going to step outside, voluntarily. How convenient. Roger leaves the house with a lamp, the dog and a loaded musket. The small white thing keeps barking until it catches my scent. Then it starts shaking. I jump down from the patio and land behind him in perfect silence. I grab the man's neck between two talons. He freezes and drops everything to grip my hand. I let him frantically struggle for a few seconds, then I increase the pressure. I have some questions, I say in a low voice. Ari. I stop dead. I cannot believe it. Did he recognize my voice? Roger and I were never close, we had not spoken since last May. How? How could he? Ari, is that you? No. Ari, what happened to you? We can help. Silence. I do not know. I ask the questions. Yes. And you answer. Now tell me, where is Papa? Ari, I am sorry, we had to . Where is he? In the Dependence. I can't stand this anymore. What the fuck is he doing in the Dependence? Those are the servant quarters. I turn Roger around and slam him against the wall. Why is he there? Why not here? This is his fucking house. I can tell you. Please don't hurt my daddy. Both of us turn to a small child, my nephew. For the first time, Roger's voice shows true panic. Please? Lucien, no. Go home. And Ari? No, this is wrong. This is all wrong. This should not be happening. They do not belong here. This is the nest. Slay the intruders, drink them dry, display their corpses as warning for the oath . No. No. This is my family. This parody of life has already robbed the human Ariane of her life, it will not take her family as well. I refuse. I am no slave, not to the Lancasters, not to him, and certainly not to my own instincts. This will not stand. I release the old man who collapses on the ground. Lucien looks at me in wonder. Curses, he must have seen the teeth. Now they know. I should kill them just to be on the safe side. I can easily get rid of the bodies. What is wrong with me? I need to leave. Where? Tom's old house. Wait. I stop but do not dare to turn around and face them. He had a hard time handling your disappearance. Then why is he not in his bedroom where he belongs? He drank too much, he burnt down the resting cabin, almost burnt down the house too. He moved out. We are taking care of the slaves and his investment while he, well, wastes away. I see. Ari, what happened to you? You did not see me, uncle. You never saw me here. I am dead. Do you understand? We love you, Ari, we are your family. Just stay . No. I cannot. I really cannot. I would endanger Lucien and Sarah. I would endanger us all. I understand. Is it farewell then? It is. Then, I wish you the best and I am sorry. Goodbye, Roger. Goodbye, Ari. Bye, and Ari, take care. I sprint forward to a group of small houses. It only takes me a few seconds to find the right house and knock on the door like a fury. It takes him a long time to answer, long enough, in fact, for other people to wake up. I care not. Eventually, he opens the door and we stare at each other in stunned silence. It is him. It is really him. Let me in. Ari. Let me in, damn it. Astonished, he makes the barest of move and that is all that I need. I push past him and he closes the door behind me. Only a small candle provides light around us. His place is a hovel, filled with rickety furniture and empty bottles. It reeks of alcohol, digested alcohol, and sweat. We stay silent. I do not even turn to face him. I jump when someone knocks on the door. Mr. Raynaud, are you all right in there? Yes. I am fine. Please, leave me be. As you say, sir. We both turn at the same time. I wear a winter traveling garb complete with a cape, but my head is bare and my hair free. I am the exact copy of the woman who left his house back in July, down to the hair length. He, however, is but a shadow of his former self. His sickly skin is drawn taut over a skeletal frame. His blue eyes are sunken and devoid of their usual spark. His shoulders are slumped, he is hunched, and even his proud blonde beard is matted and messy. I find the irony tragic. I am the one who was left behind, but he is the one who could not let go. Is that really you, or is this some sort of cruel joke? His voice is cold, but his face shows an ocean of suffering, constant grief without end that even the bottle failed to blunt. I hesitate, then I decide to go for honesty. I am so sorry, I do not know. I start bawling like a child. God, how pathetic I am. The proud vampire who reigned undefeated over the gauntlet reduced to a quivering mess. My father takes me in his arms and hugs me. I lean into it. We stay like this for a while. God, I wish this would never stop. After a while, I push him away. He lets me go. You cried blood on my shirt, daughter. It was filthy anyway. Tell me what is going on. I start talking and I do not stop. The tale of what happens comes out in a messy jumble. I talk about being cursed, being dead, needing blood, escaping, my friend Jimena, how I first met her, fighting in the gauntlet, running errands, the big eye in the sky. It just comes out in a big pile of nonsense, and never does he interrupt me. After a good hour, I putter out like a wet pistol. He dries his wet cheeks with a tissue as I wait for something, a verdict I suppose. You believe that my daughter died in the basement? I think so, I say with some hesitation. I do not think I am human. Did she suffer? Did she call for me? I look at him. His face is a mask. Should I say the truth? He would never believe a lie. Yes. I did. He sits down and cries again. We have cried quite a bit this past hour. I even stained the front of my dress. I never expected you to come, I say. I sit down. There was nothing you could have done. This is unfair, I know, but I can tell you this, even if you had found me, you would have died as well. I failed you. No, you did not. You made me happy. For those past 19 years, you made me happy. This is what you were supposed to do, Papa. Killing millennia-old monsters was never part of the deal. If I had known but you could not. We sit in silence. Do you really have to leave? Yes. I just came by because I needed closure. We both did. I guess. Where is Achille? Closing a contract in Houston. He has come to terms with your death, I believe. I expected no less from my practical brother. How is Constanza? She recovered, but her face is scarred. She was followed by a nice doctor from the city, and they are getting married in April. That is good to hear. We stay for a while in comfortable silence. I do not believe I have ever stayed awake for so long since I died. I am dimly aware that I will need to find shelter for the day, but right now, I cannot bring myself to care. I must leave, Papa. Yes, I suppose you do. His eyes suddenly widen in shock, and a silly smile lightens his features. I feel myself mirror the expression. It is so good to see life come back to him, if only a little. Hold on. Before you go, I have your birthday gift. What? You do? And it finally occurs to me that I turned 20 in August. I was so focused on running errands and surviving that it never occurred to me to celebrate. Excited, Papa runs to his bedroom and rummages through various belongings. I hear him mutter and curse, then with a triumphant aha, he returns with a long leather holster. Papa. Is that? Indeed. I had Tal and make it for you. Try it out. I open the cover and take out a brand new rifle. Oh my, oh my. It's wonderful. I jump excitedly and I touch the smooth polished stock of red-colored wood, the silver-engraved firing mechanism, and the long barrel. The weapon is a work of art and love. I aim and it is as if I have had it my whole life. It is perfectly balanced and quite light, although I suppose I can thank my new strength for that last part. Incredible. It is as if it was made for me. It was. Talleyrand used your exact measurements. Oh Papa, this is such a great gift. Thank you, thank you. I jump and hug him again, laughing all the time. But wait, I haven't told you the best part yet. He replies with amusement. For a while, my father goes to great lengths to explain how special the gun is. It is a more recent design that uses paper cartridges and is loaded from the gun's breech instead of the muzzle. The barrel is even rifled for increased accuracy. Truly, the wonders of science know no bounds. After that, it is time to say goodbye. I shoulder my backpack, the leather cover and pocket the bag of ammunition in silence. Father holds my shoulders then gives me one last hug. It is the first time in 6 months that I embrace someone I will not feed from. He backs up a bit then a rugged thumb caresses my cheek. I remember that you told me you are not my Ariane, but you were wrong. You still carry the same spirit, the same aspirations and God forgive me, the same love for unladylike things that go boom. Father. Shh, ha ha ha, let your old man finish. You think that being human is what made you my daughter. It is not. Being you is what made you my daughter. You have always changed and grown, this particular change is just the latest and the most dire. Do not despair and do not let go of your past and our time together, yes? Don't make me cry again. Ha ha, it is fine. The same goes for you. I reply between two hiccups, you better clean yourself, mister. Don't make me feel ashamed. Oh, believe me, I will. I turn and step to the door before I lose every last bit of self-control I have. I am so emotional tonight, more so than usual. This strange blood might be to blame yet I feel no regret. I think that I needed it. Take the key to the St. Landry warehouse. You can rest there today and, Ariane. Yes? You have enemies. Give them hell and no quarters. I refuse to lose you again, you hear? You are forbidden from dying before me. I promise. Good, now go, and don't forget to write. I leave Montfort at a dead run, feeling light as a feather. I did not expect everything to have gone so well. I look up and exchange a glance with a silent watcher. Its gaze feels softer tonight. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. The road forward lies open. Tope continued. Thanks for listening.